Hey, it's George. Today we're going to look at mixing toms, how to have complete control of the sound and have them cut through any mix. Check it out. So this is a technique that I learned when I was starting, and it was a real game changer for me. I used to EQ the toms and try and bring out the high end, and it would really make the cymbals sound weird, or I would bring out the low end and it would really suck the life out of the compressor, or the gate, you would really hear the cymbal kind of hanging over after a crash or something during a tom fill. But this kind of solves all of that. You have complete control over both the sustain of the drum, the boom, the resonance, how thick you want the drum, as well as how much attack you want in the drum without affecting any of the other bleed or cymbals or anything. And it can really cut through a huge mix full of guitars. So basically there's two parts of the drum. There's the sustain and then there's the attack. And we're gonna separate those two so you have complete control over them. So I just do a really simple beat. I hit all the toms. I also ride on the ride cymbal just so you can hear how that works. The drums are Gretsch US Maple 13 and 16 for the toms. It's a Powerstroke 4 on the top head and just a Diplomat on the bottom. I like the Powerstroke 4 heads because they kind of get rid of all of the overtones in the drum, and they also deepen the sound of the drum, and they have less sustain. So kind of they come out naturally sounding mixed in a way. So these toms are mic'd with the Sennheiser E604 mics, top and bottom, pretty basic stuff. Again, links below if you want to check out the mics or the drum heads. And here's the beat, check it out. So the first thing I like to do is just solo the toms and EQ them to where they sound just like I like them. Don't worry about bleed, don't worry about anything, just make them sound like you're after. You can use any EQ you want to. This is the Metric Halo channel strip. I just have everything bypass above the EQ. First thing you want to do is get rid of some of this cloudy mid-range. Boost some of that low end. Then you want to pull up the high end to bring out that stick attack. Sounds good. Now we'll do the floor tom. And you can be as aggressive as you want with these moves. Get rid of some of this cloudiness. Take off the gate. Pull up some low end. Pull up the high end stick hits. Again, you're just trying to listen to the toms. You're not worried about the other stuff in between. All right, so if that sounds good to you, then the next thing you want to do is just edit the toms. So double click the track. It brings up this editor. Push this thing. Tab over to each transient. Delete this first little region. So I have some of these key commands to be custom. You can just go to the key commands in Logic and search for forward by transient or rewind by transient, and you can make those whatever you want. Looks like that one right there got missed. So you can just, oops, where you at? Just put a little, oop. Delete that first region. Close that window. Then you just select all these, go over to the events window. You can usually just grab the longest region, pull it down. You want to get all these the same length. So then what I like to do is make these about 100 samples long. Zoom into one of them. Oh, make sure they're all selected after this. Zoom in. Pull that back just a little bit. And then you can fade in around 5, 6, whatever. Fade out about the same. So these are all good to go. Here's what they sound like on their own. These are just, you know, the length of a stick hitting the tom, roughly. Okay, so then what I like to do is I duplicate all of these down to a track. So then we have these split up. So these first set right here, like the tom, I'm going to make these be the resonance on how long I want the drum to actually ring out. So I select all those. You can option click the track. Just drag it to where it feels good. Let's try that. So then you can mute these for a second. Feels good. Select those and then just put a fade. You can adjust all this after the fact. It's real easy. So when you get the context of the song, you know, some of this stuff might change a little bit. So then you just do the same with the floor tom. Drag these out to where they feel good. So sometimes you'll get this thing going on, and you can just push T for tool, G for glue, and just glue these back together. Whenever there's hits that close on the resonant track, you don't really want those to be split up. I mean, you can, but it's just cleaner looking to put them back together. T and T for tool. Then option click, drag these to where they ring out like you like them. Check it out for context. So that's why I don't like to use gates, because with a gate, you don't have a lot of control. With this, you can control how long you want these to ring out, how short, how punchy. You can really do anything you want. So now that we have the EQ sounding like we want them on these, what I call stick tracks, duplicate that EQ over. And then go through on the track that was the length of the ring. You want to low pass at 500. On the track with just the stick hit, you want a high pass at 500. And the same with the floor tom. You can play around with this and see which you like more. 500 always just, that's what I learned. That's the way I learned it, and it's always worked for me. So now you have these really bright stick hits that sound really weird on their own. Check it out. And then you have these low tracks. And together they sound odd. All right, so the next thing I like to do is just take them all down, listen to the drum set in context, and just pull up the resonance to where it feels good to you. Floor tom. Then just bring up how much stick hit you want in these. So the next thing I like to do is, the last thing for the toms typically is there's a tom bus. I send all these to a tom bus that goes back out to the drum bus. And I like this Waves L1 limiter because you can link the threshold and output, the input and out. So take this down to where it's starting to grab all the tom hits. That'll just give it a nice fullness and keep them all pretty consistent. So here's what it sounds like now. And there you go. So now you can control the amount of sustain you want in the tom and the amount of stick attack brightness you want in the tom. And that's it. You can really have these cut through any mix. It can be 100 guitars and the toms can still cut through just like you like them. If you liked the video and you found some value in it, please subscribe, please like the video, please comment. Let me know also in the comments if I went too fast or if I didn't cover something or if you want to see more of something. I'm still kind of new to this, so I really appreciate it. And yeah, thanks again.